So today's build is what I'm calling the 8-penny Fidget hand spinner. It's the fourth in the series. Here's the prototype. Then I did rather popular build steampunk fidgets, marble fidgets, and now what I'm calling the 8-penny torque bar fidget. So the whole point of all my builds is that I'm trying to get fidgets to cost the least amount of money. This one here is 8 cents, a roller bearing maybe for $1, a paint stir that you can find at almost any hardware store from 0 to maybe $1, and some paint and some clear coat. I like to use the metallic paints because it kind of gives them a nice flare. So let's talk about this build. So once again, start with a standard paint stir, pretty easy, soft wood. But once you paint it up, put the clear coat on it, it seems to be pretty tough. So you can take a paint stir like this, and I always ask the measurements. So you're talking 80 millimeters across, 35 millimeters this way. So about 17.5 millimeters is the center line. You go half the distance for the center of the fidget here, and then 15 millimeters in is the center of the pennies. I'm using a 3/4 inch drill. Here's one of the blanks. Once again, you could use the less expensive, more available, sometimes 3/4 inch drill here, but I found that these relatively cheap and they make a nice good flat straight cut. So 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch for the pennies, the standard 7/8, and you'll notice that it's pretty loose here, and when you stack the pennies up, they fit in there like this. Okay, that's your finished product. Okay, it's still loose, but once you paint them up, it's pretty tight. So here's one, for example, that I'm getting ready to finish. You got the roller bearing. I've already put the pennies in. The clear coat, I think, helps protect the pennies, makes it keeps the shine up. And this is about, so this look just like this. Paint it up, put it in there, and then you can just press it in like so. And as that clear coat hardens up, you're good to go. And if you feel like it's too loose on you, just use some wood glue or any kind of standard glue, and that's all you need. Now, a couple things I learned. I actually made a blank after I figured out exactly what I wanted. You can put this blank right here and then clamp it down, and you can put a whole bunch of these together if you wanted, and make a whole host of fidgets rather quickly by just drilling through and using that as your target base, as long as you lined them up flat like that, straightened them down, and clamped them down with something like this. Works really great. I use those all the time. Couple clamps. Then you can use another little trick I used here is I just took this bottle cap, something that's about the same width, lined it up like that, drew it out with a straight pen or a pencil, and then it's just a matter of using a coping saw to trim it down a little bit, filing it down, 100 grit, 150 grit, 100 grit, 400 grit to smooth it out before you paint it. One of the other things I'd like to mention is I got one of these Japanese saws. This actually came from Harbor Freight, and it has been well worth the money. You can get more expensive ones at a big hardware store or, a big box store like Lowe's or Home Depot, but This Harbor Freight version has just been working like a charm. I think it's one of the little golden finds, Harbor Freight. I've talked about the bearings before. This is from an old skate board or roller blade. You can see that it's got a metal race in it. These newer bearings are plastic, and they are really quiet. I don't think they spin as much, and sometimes the boys like the noise, but I opted to just do the quiet ninja, what I call the ninja bearings, because you can do this all day long and nobody's going to hear you. And it seems like everybody's got a jar of pennies. So I just kind of cleaned these up, or found the cleanest ones. I used heads on both sides for these. This is, like I said, a metallic black with a real thick clear coat. Probably put about 3 or 4 spray coats on there before I put the center hub in. And I'm really happy with that. So there you go. Fairly simple build. Said you can make, just one paint stir, and you can make probably 4 or 5 of these things. And if you make a mistake or crack it, it's not a big deal. It's regularly, pretty much cheap. Just shave that down. There you go. This one's a little more blocky than this one. This one's got a nice little curve. More curve. See it a little bit. Believe it or not, I actually clamped these together, 2 pieces, and I filed them at the same time. But now looking at them a little bit, this is a little more blocky on the end. But the paint makes it really look nice, and so far the feedback is these are the favorites. So there you go. And then also you can always use a dowel like I did for this one and for this one to make it a little hard, easier for smaller hands, but also, you can use them as a top that way then. So there you go. 4-penny fidget. Takes about, except for waiting the paint to dry, the 4-penny fidget will take you probably 20-30 minutes once you got the pattern. This was the hardest part, figuring out this, something that was just good enough. And I used this as the pattern as far as the width. And just to check it there, look at that. They all seem to be about 80 millimeters, 8 centimeters. And yes, it is metric, but as you can tell, I'm using English standard inch drills. So I look forward to any feedback you might have, and coming up with another fidget. Also, you can check out my GoPro and 360 camera mounts and tracks and things like that I'm developing and designing. Always look forward to hearing your comments. Enjoy. Show me your pics. Send them to me. Thanks.